Welcome back to another CM reaction video. Banger for you today. I'm active with the content, baby. Welcome back. Today we are going to be reacting to Strickland's coach is brutally honest of criticism for seeing Strickland. Let's go and watch this. Let's see what he has to say.
Let's go to the man himself, Eric
Haven't
Nixick,
watched
who's
this
kind
yet.
enough to
Let's
join
go.
us on this Tuesday afternoon. I was showering you with all kinds of praise, Eric, saying it's easy to show up when times are good, when you're coming off a big win. It says a lot about you that you'd come on after a tough night at the office. Thank you very much for the time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, hey, get your ass.
He's got the monster sponsor on his head.
Face the music, bro. So I appreciate you having me on.
I didn't realize times were so tough. Did they cut your internet as well over there? What happened? They usually have crystal clear internet on the tour. Are times that tough?
You lose a fight and then they cut your internet. Yeah, we were trying to troubleshoot through it, so I have no idea what's going on. But apparently we're on a landline now.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll work through it, just like you had to work through it on Saturday, Sunday in Sydney. I'll start here if I can. What do you make of what happened on Saturday night or Sunday in Sydney? What do you make of your guys' performance in the fight? Now,
is he going to be honest?
Oh, it was just uninspired fighting to me. It just seemed like he was sleepwalking. You know, yeah, it was.
That is some crazy shit. He was sleepwalking. The fight was uninspiring. It's crazy. This guy might be going in harder than he thinks, bro. That's crazy.
It was tough, man. I was just trying to dig him out of it. You know, through the rounds, I didn't know if he was trying to collect data in the beginning or if it was just a slow start or what was going on. But you know, as the rounds began to progress, I can just tell that it just didn't feel like he was in it the way most of the times that he is. So, yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough 25 minutes to travel all the way out there. You know, and like, man, let's not forget this is a title fight, and I take these title fights very seriously, and you know, just
man takes title fights very, very serious. This coach wants excellence. This is a very good coach. If a coach is telling you that you're doing amazing 100% of the time, that is when you get rid of them because you know they're not honest. There's always something that you can improve on. And it's definitely not the coach's fault if you can't change your mindset. Let's keep going.
I was just disappointed, man. I was disappointed with the whole entire outcome, the whole fight as a process. Just thought it was just kind of flat.
Were you expecting that? Was there any part of you that thought this might happen?
No, I really didn't. I didn't. Like, to Sydney's good vibes, good
Man's
juju,
freezing
you know,
up.
everything that went on out there last time with Israel, I thought it was like the place to be. I was very happy about that situation, getting back out there to fight, and getting the rematch with Dricus. You know, I think there was things that you know we worked on all camp that were better than the last time around. You had a feel of what Dricus was going to implement. You know, so
man's freezing up on this thing.
So just for that type of performance,
man's got 25p Wi-Fi.
There was some talk about his arm and whether that was a staph infection. A, what can you tell us about the arm, and B, do you think that affected him in any way?
Interesting.
You know, it certainly doesn't help, but yeah, he had staph a couple weeks prior to us leaving. He was on antibiotics, but no, I mean, he looked great leading up to the last like week and a half of training. You know, traveled out there, his cardio felt fine, everything felt fine.
Oh,
so, you know,
he's calling him out. He's calling him out. Oh, so the staff wasn't the reason why he lost. Seen Strickland, we can't make that excuse anymore, brother. You might be getting rid of him after this. God damn.
Of course, getting staph that at any point doesn't help the situation. It's not ideal, but that's to me not the reason why he felt flat.
So obviously, in
the coach come in with some fire.
In large part because he's such a boisterous and kind of outspoken, outlandish personality, but he also, you know, not just when talking about regular stuff, if you want to call it regular stuff, politics, all this stuff. He says things like, he's going to fight to the death, and obviously that's not really what we saw.
He don't fight
on
to the
Saturday.
death.
Do you think that the criticism is warranted? Do you think that it has been fair?
It's very warranted.
Yeah, of course, I do. I do. I mean, we have to be real. Like, it just was a very underwhelming performance in an opportunity to fight for a title. You know, there's people in this sport that never even realize that potential to ever even be an opportunity to fight for a championship. That should be enough to get you motivated, to get you off the couch.
He's not motivated. You tell me that he's not motivated.
He was, he didn't perform. You know, so that's on. It's on all of us. It's on me as a coaching staff.
Didn't perform.
Sean and you know, I think he needs to evaluate what he wants to do in the sport. If it's just to make money, then that's great. Let us know. You know, I want to coach world champions. So my motivations are different. You know, so I think that, you know, just to kind of show up and do that and you know, not really back it up, to me was just kind of uninspiring.
What is going through your mind as you're watching this unfold? Like you say, you travel all the way across the world. You're with the guy, second shot to try to, you know, beat this guy to win back the belt, and you could see your frustration. You could hear your frustration building. They kept going back to you in the corner, and you're being brutally honest. You're telling him it's too predictable. You got to go. You got to get a finish. Every time it was building up. But as you're going back to the corner for those 5 minutes, and you're watching this, what's going on inside? What are you thinking? Are you tired of your YouTube channel?
You're thinking this guy's dog shit and can only box. That's what you're thinking. Sean Strickland is a boxer, bruv, not an MMA fighter.
Just he's kind of checked out. That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like, you know, you're
checked out for a holiday,
trying to get him to do something.
Checked out for a holiday. Checked out for a holiday. Bookie.com, maybe Travaga. Who knows?
So I'm asking for anything. You know, the jab and the teeth are going to win the fight. You know, it's like if you have a predictable offense and you run
the
this
jab and the teeth wins the fight.
You get down by 30. You don't have.
That's kind of a bad way to look at it. The jab and teep would win you the fight. No, it fucking wouldn't. He didn't win it the first time. He didn't win it the second time. If you keep jabbing and teeping at me, I'm just taking you down, bruv. I'm just taking you down to Turtle Town and fucking you up, bruv.
Have the ability to come back and win those games, right? Like
I'm wrestling
don't have the
that
ability
shit.
To come back and win those types of games, so you have to take risks. You have to make something creative happen.
He's not creative enough.
Jabbing and teeping your way to.
You're telling me he's not creative enough. This is crazy.
Fair. So it's like, dude, find the same side head kick.
Dude.
Throw some knees up the middle.
Hey, dude, I told you, shoot through middle. What?
Drake has seen for the last 9 rounds, you know, so we have to mix it up.
Crazy, man. Speaking like it was simple. If it was that simple, we'd all be world champions. That's kind of crazy.
And so, when you were talking to him, are you feeling, like, in between rounds, are you feeling that what you were saying is going through, or because at one point I kind of felt like he was getting mad at you. What did you make of that dynamic, and if your words were even reaching him?
No, I felt like that's a typical Sean corner. Usually, like, he's just kind of hard to like address. You know, like he's just kind of moves around and make a lot of eye contact. So there's times I'm like grabbing him, like, "Hey man, look at me." But that's typical Sean. That's when we're winning or losing. That's kind of him in the corner. So whether he was not really listening or taking on the content that we were giving him was one thing. But no, I felt like he was listening, and like he was responsive too. Like after one round, I remember he's like, "All right, I'm getting my timing. I got my timing." And I'm like, "Dude, like we don't want to be giving rounds away, especially after the first experience, right? Like it was such a close fight that giving round 1 away was scary enough for me. I'm like, I don't want to give any rounds away, let alone 1 and 2. So now we're fighting. You know, we have to come back, and really, you know, we don't have that
not coming
one
back.
hitter quitter comeback mentality with Sean. So you know that to me was just kind of like, well, we're gonna have to try to start doing something different.
Can I ask, what was the game plan?
Well, there was a lot of things that I think that we did well in the first fight that we could build on, and some of those things were, you know, was when Drake shot on us, we were leaving our hips behind. So we wanted to get away from leaning and leaving our hips there for Drake to be able to take us down pretty easily. But if we did get taken down, there were some opportunities for us to be able to hit the switch and get on top. If you go back and watch the Brad Tavares fight, Brad was able to get on top and utilize some ground and pound and ride Dricus a little bit, get some control time. So it wasn't necessarily for us to wrestle or try to shoot on Dricus, but it was that opportunity. Like if there was a wrestling exchange, that we want to be able to get on top. The other thing was, and I think I might have said in the corner, was I wanted to interrupt Dricus' combinations.
Get on top of
Dricus tends to have holes in his defense within the combinations. You see him leaving his hands behind. In that kind of chaos there, that's where I wanted him to counter or try to create something in between the combinations.
That's a pretty good idea.
Dricus tends to have better defense, high shield, high guard. And then how do we attack it from there? So there is a number of things that like we really
the high guard is very, very good because he also managed to block his body with it.
Felt kind of flat, So it was tough, man. It was tough to watch.
There's always a debate in those fights or after those fights where it was like, okay, did that fight turn out that way because of what Dricus brought to the table, or
he's beating the shit out of him on this fight? I'm not even gonna lie.
What was it?
I'm not even gonna cap to you. He was getting his ass handed to him on a platter, bro. Look at that, bro.
Because Sean
his nose is fadoodle cake trying to.
Whoa,
he's got the flag on him. He's got that aura.
I'd say a little bit of both.
He's got that aura.
I think he's got that aura. Realized probably maybe in the first fight that he didn't necessarily respect Sean's power. It just was accumulation of volume. I would say that death by 1,000 paper cuts. That I think.
So you're telling me he volumed his ass to the ground? Is that what you're telling me?
Risk, right? So I think Dricus fought.
Oh yeah, he's on top of another guy. He's kind of gay. All right.
And he just did that with volume. I mean, he didn't do really anything different, but he did everything that he needed to do just to get a win. Right? Like I even said to Dricus after the fight, man, like I wish we would have given you a better fight. Like you deserved a better fight than that. So he didn't.
He deserved a better fight than that.
Like Dricus
crazy.
Saw the way Sean was fighting, and he minimized every risk that he had to take, and did his job, and got out of there 25 rounds scot free, or 25 minutes, without really getting hurt.
Are you surprised that Dricus has gone this long without losing? Like that he continues with his, and I hate to call it awkward because it sounds like an insult. I'm not insulting him. Like he just has a somewhat different, unorthodox style. But that, all the fighters say like, man, it's not pretty, but it works. It's effective. Are you surprised that he is still unbeaten 9 in a row now in the UFC?
Jesus, 9 in a row. Are we talking serious? 9-0, and he's already got the title, bruv. People have been fighting for way longer than that.
No, I'm not surprised. I don't think that. I think that he navigated his career perfectly. I think he's very well coached. He's very smart. He's very cerebral, and he understands what he's looking to accomplish in a fight. And I think like new wrinkles start coming out with his style the more and more you see him in the cage. And it reminds me a lot like, where GSPs began to kind of evolve in that championship frames, right? Where you saw GSP becoming the better wrestler than Josh Koscheck, the better striker than Thiago Alves. And I'm not saying like Dricus has the same skill set. I'm just saying that he's developing new tactics and techniques every time that you see him in there. This fight, I don't think he really had to do anything different. He just kind of was just ahead of Sean all the whole time. But I think that Dricus is only going to get better over time, and I think he definitely has a good skill set to continue to keep developing.
Do you think he beats Hamzat? Hey there, sorry to interrupt. Just want to remind you, if you haven't already...
Do you think he beats Hamzat is a very good question. I don't think he beats Hamzat at all.
Ready? Please do hit that subscribe button.
If you think he beats Hamzat,
and while you're at it,
lying
give us a thumbs
to
up
yourself.
We've got live
Stop
shows,
lying
interviews,
to yourself,
clips,
okay?
And a whole lot more going on this here channel. All right, now back to the show.
Ooh, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I think it's a great fight. I think if Dricus can navigate through those first couple rounds,
I don't think he can,
and get Hamzat into third and fourth and fifth rounds. That's where I lean towards Dricus. But those first couple rounds with Hamzat and the way how explosive he is and how he ran through Whitaker, seeing what Hamzat's able to do in those top side positions and his grappling exchanges, it's going to be a tough first 10, 15 minutes, you know. So, but Dricus definitely has the skills. I think it's a great fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing that fight.
Destroyed. So very similar analysis to what we heard
He's
from
gonna get
Dean
destroyed.
Thomas,
Trust
who was
me.
on our show
If he
yesterday.
tries to play this
I don't know
game,
if
he's
you
gonna
saw
get
that, but
absolutely
he was
wiped.
quite critical, honest, whatever you want to say about Sean, saying he's just not that guy. He says he's that guy.
He's just
he
not
says
that
he's
guy.
The to the death guy, but he's not that guy. What is your response
He's
to
not
that
that guy.
You know, I think he's right to say that in this particular fight.
Okay.
You know, I don't think that is a. I think that's it's a broad brush to paint off after one fight. You know, it wasn't our night. It was a very flat, very uninspiring night. But I don't think that that's necessarily Sean as a person, or I mean, as a fighter. And we've seen him in these wars. We've seen him in these fights. We know he's capable of it, right? So just to say that, like, you know, he's not that guy. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't that night. That's for sure.
Okay. Could I ask from your perspective? Obviously, you're the coach.
He's critical, bruv. This is good. This is good. A coach chatting shit to their fighter is a good thing.
Much attention, and you know he has those press conferences, and
if Strickland fires him after this, I'm gonna be pissed.
The newspaper saying
if I see something, I'm gonna be pissed.
Do you feel like any of that ends up being a distraction in the sense that he's focused on these things, these moments, these quotes? And once it comes to fight week, when you have
to the death,
switched on,
oh no, pillow hands,
are almost programmed to not say anything interesting on the week. Like imagine Jalen Hurts the week of the Super Bowl goes off on all kinds of things. No, you don't want to do that because you want to just be completely locked in. As the coach, do you feel like sometimes that stuff takes over the actual task at hand, and thus we see a performance like this?
That's a good question. I definitely don't think that those antics help the situation, but I also think it all for Sean it gets his mind off the pressure of maybe fighting for the title or fighting, you know, Dricus or whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, I think Sean kind of gets lost in that chaos. He enjoys it at times, but it can also be a distraction and be a detriment to the fight. You know, your focus begins to waver on things that really don't matter. So, you know, and I can't say that was this particular instance because it's every time out with Sean. You know, it's always that. What's he going to say at the press conference sort of thing? So, you know me, bro. It's not my thing. I stay away.
What does he say at the press conference? You know, to the death, bro.
On the
Crazy.
opponent in front of me and not the microphone.
Can I ask you a blunt question that I don't think I've ever asked a coach before? But you're so open and honest, and I appreciate that very much. And
yes, he is very open and honest because he's a good coach to his fighter. He's not going to lie.
If this is the type of performance that we are set to see from Sean in the future, do you not want to coach him anymore? Do you not want to work with him anymore?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment that I would have to sit down with Sean and talk to him about, right? Like, you know, where can my services be of help for you? You know, I think as a coach, you get credit for things you don't do essentially as much, and you get the blame for things that you might not do as well. So you got to be right there in the middle. But in situations like
he's just punching someone in the face,
might change.
Lovely.
And if that's the case, if his motivations have changed to something different, where it's like, hey, I prefer to fight for money or a paycheck.
That's funny.
It's not to be the best or be a world champion, then yeah, I think as a coach and fighter, we should sit down and have that conversation. And you know, I love him, man. He's a great teammate. He's a great guy. You guys heard me say that time and time again. But you know, if your fights aren't to be the best in the world and they're for money, then that's not really what I'm looking for. I want to compete against the best. I want to win world titles, and you know, that's my main focus and goal.
Have you had that conversation with him yet?
No, you know, he came in today for practice, and he was here for a brief minute. We had a brief exchange and kind of heard some of the things he had to say, just about like the travel and things like that. So, but you know, I think a good sit down and a good conversation about where his head's at. You know, give him a week or so, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk.
What was the vibe like today? Like, is he hurting? You know, we haven't heard much from him. He didn't do the press conference. He hasn't really posted anything. How would you describe his demeanor?
Yeah, because he got slammed, bro.
Missing teeth ruin your life.
He can't be feeling good, bro.
Because I work with patients daily
He's
who've
lost
all
to
or
the
most of their
Dutchman
teeth.
twice.
They complain.
He was actually good. Like, you know, he came into sparring and was helping the guys out. You know, typical teammate, Sean Strickland teammate. You know, Mansour's got a fight coming up. He was there coaching Brad. He was coaching the other guys there in the room, and you know, it was good. I think it was good for him to show up and show face and be here at sparring today. So, you know, hats off to him, man, because you know, taking a loss like that and coming in and showing your face and being around the team, I thought was important. I thought it was good for him.
And by the way, in the locker room, in the immediate aftermath, what was he saying? Did he recognize that he didn't show up?
They transported him pretty quick, so he had to go back. He had to go to the hospital to get his nose fixed. And
Crazy.
They only allowed KJ to go with them, so we hung back, and then I got to see him in the hotel after. And yeah, we got back. He just was kind of like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, dude. It just, you know, wasn't all there. That was kind of like the emphasis of the conversation. Very short and brief, you know, and that was that.
Okay. Do you know if he needs surgery?
I don't think he needs. I don't think he does. I think they said it when he was there, so I think he's good.
Okay. By the way, the difference between the Sean we saw on Saturday and the Sean you see every day in the gym, like the you know, you hear sometimes. It's funny because Mike Pyle, who you will remember, right, who was one of the
he only
founding
beats
fathers
up like
influencers, he would often talk
crazy.
about how he was known as like the gym fighter, and that like he was a completely different guy. Is that Sean? Is that fair or is that unfair? Is he a different fighter when he's sparring, when he's at the gym, than when the lights are on?
I think he takes more risks in the gym. Like he tries new things and works on things that are different. So, yeah, you know, funny because I was just with Pyle about 5 minutes ago. So
wow.
Mike and I were just training with some guys. Yeah, but yeah, I think when you want to do those things in sparring, and you want to try new things so that you feel comfortable and working on those things live in a fight. I wouldn't say that he's reckless, but he does. He wrestles a ton, you know.
Wrestles a ton.
He throws different variants of the strikes.
Is that what you would want him to do in a game?
So yeah, I wouldn't say that
in a
he's
proper
like
match.
A gym warrior.
I
just think he takes more risks in the gym because you know you can, and those are the things. Those are the times to try those things out.
Okay. So what happens now for you and Sean? You give him a week or so. You sit down, and you kind of just have an honest and open conversation.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach. And you know, I always when I got into this game, you know, Robert Follis, you know, dropped some great knowledge on me. He says every MMA guy has these three attributes: the fighter, the competitor, and the athlete. You and I have talked about this before in the past. Mm-hmm. And you know, there's elements and degrees of these fighters that begin to dissipate. And Sean is a fighter of a 10, right? Like if the fight in him begins to start to waver and he doesn't have this anger, he doesn't have this feeling of wanting to be in there, or he doesn't have this like this meanness to him, well, now you're relying on a competitor and an athlete that he's a decent competitor, but he's not a great athlete, right? So you have these attributes that you're trying to lean on, and then once that fighter begins to dissipate, like you change the environment, your bank account gets more. You have you have a love interest now. You have all these things, so you kind of take that meanness, that edge off of you. You know, so it's like, well, what are you inspired by? What's your why now? And those things will always change in the fighter. And you have to, as a coach, be good at adjusting it and making it, you know, to where it's to your best abilities. And that's something I think we need to kind of sit down and talk about. Is where's his headspace at right now?
Who is next for you? What do you have next, Eric?
Edmund Shabazian this weekend.
Oh God, right back at it. But at least it's a home game, right?
Yeah, so we're here for this fight, Edmund, and then I go to Seattle with Mansour and Ebo.
Let's see this.
And what about the big man? Any signs of him? Boxing, MMA, the big Frenchman.
Yeah, nothing right now. I don't know who knows where he's at. I think he was just in Miami a couple days ago. So no news is good news, I guess. So,
All right.
I'd like to see him get back into MMA just because we're making some good strides and getting moving. But my guess is he's probably going to box.
Yeah. And what, we just saw the Super Bowl, and I'm so happy the NFL season is over because my Bills broke my heart once again, and they had their hearts broken too. But
When he
what about
boxes, does he
what about young
bring the
Avery
PFL
Nixick? I
belt
see
with
her on
him,
the
bro?
gridiron doing incredible things. This is it. What do we have here in Avery? What is going on over here? She's leaving everyone in the dust.
Well, waiting.
Oh, bro, this child, man, she's inspired, man. She's really enjoying the game. She's played a little bit of flag all the way like from junior high, but I think once they announced that there's the Olympics for female flag football, there's scholarships in college.
Is it his daughter?
Man, this kid is
or
really
his side
taking
piece,
a
which one?
driving to it. She enjoys it. I love going out and watching her play. She
Okay, I'm guessing it's her
with
daughter.
her
That's
hands. She's
kind
got
of
a great
crazy.
catch radius. I mean, you see in the highlights now, man, this kid is unbelievable. So I'm super happy for her. My oldest daughter leaves tomorrow for nationals in Orlando for dance. So they've won the national championship 4 years in a row. Last year they got second. So this is the redemption year. So the kids are thriving, man. They're doing good.
Nice.
It's good to be home and see them.
Wow. And by the way, and good luck to your daughter. What's her name?
McKenna is the oldest.
Good luck to McKenna. How old is Avery?
Avery's 15. She's a freshman in high school.
Damn. Look at those wheels. Looking like a young James Cook out there, dare I say. I mean,
yeah, she could go, man.
Or Saquon.
So that was that, and yeah, right. So that's on JV. She was a freshman on JV, and then the varsity's gonna be. They start their playoffs this week, so she's gonna be out there and helping the team with on varsity. So maybe she'll get a little playing time.
Love it. Can I ask one last one? What was it like to corner a fight with Alex Pereira?
He's cool, man. Like he's intimidating as all hell. So, but he was cool. Like leaned over a few times and he's looking at me like, what the hell's going on with Sean? I'm looking at him like, man, we need to get this out of him. So he was cool and a lot of great insight. Love having him there. A lot of people thought that like he flew all the way out there to corner Sean. That was not the case. He was already there. That's why we wanted him in the corner. He was already a resource for us being in Australia. I think he was doing some seminars or something like that while he was out there. So, but him and Polino, man
keeps freezing on the screen, bro. Stop freezing.
Always an honor to have you on the show, Coach.
Bro. What are we doing?
I know it's not easy to answer some of these questions about someone that you care about and that you've been,
Do you care about
in the trenches with, right? In those foxholes.
Does he
care?
But
you don't sugarcoat things in the corner and when you're asked questions. So much appreciated and much respect. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you having me on, man. I think it's like you said, it's easy to come on here after a win, but you got to sit in that bed sometimes too. When
you got to sit in that bed, crazy.
Music, so I appreciate you having me on. Very rarely are people asking you to come on Ariel after a shutout loss.
Okay, guys, I've reacted to his coach. Now I've just realised Strickland has replied, so we are going to go watch the reply. The way it's been put to me, it sounds kind of crazy. I think he's getting rid of him. We'll go watch it now. Shout out the Mac Life for more content. Here we go. He replies, baby. Let's see what he has to say for himself.
Alright, guys, keep tagging me about this Eric thing, and goddamn it, because I like Eric. He's a friend of mine, and he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not. We have so many great guys at Extreme, Nate, Race FO. We have so many savages that I would love to corner me. But, man, that entire fight camp was just a struggle. Like, it was a fucking struggle. And, guys, we all have excuses as to why we didn't win or why we won and we shouldn't
W
won.
excuse right there.
We have excuses, and they don't fucking matter.
Oh,
the
yeah.
only reason why I'm making this video is because Eric had to go to a fucking podcast and become an influencer. So now I gotta explain myself. Opportunity. And not
He's
just
still funny, though, even in a loss.
Comes when it's supposed to. It doesn't matter what the circumstances, what the situation is. You will never wake up and say, no, today is the perfect day for opportunity. It will come at the worst fucking time. It will come at the worst time. And how many times it comes and you raise your hand and you say, you know what, like, I'm fucking ready. A lot of times you fail. A lot of the times you fail. But a lot of times you don't fail. And
Crazy.
it's like, you must say yes. This is not an excuse, but that entire camp was just a struggle of I'm good. I'm good. knowing you're not good. I was in Colombia like 8 weeks out, 7 weeks out, and getting stem cells on a broken bone. Again, bone healed fine, no excuse. It just kind of weighs in the back of your head. I was training with that Ritter guy, the submission guy, and he hit me the whizzer. It was already broken. And dude, I thought my arm fucking snapped. I thought my arm snapped. It's like, I gotta go to Colombia. Like, this is fucked. But all camp, this is just in the back of your head. And like, you just keep telling yourself, I'm fucking good. And I think this is what all men do. Like, all men do this. Like, you look in the mirror and like, even
This
though you know you're not
excuse is
good, you're like, I'm
crazy.
fucking
This
good, dude.
excuse
You're a
is
fucking
crazy.
man. You sack up. But all camp, dude, whether it be, you know, the staph infection, the broken arm, the having to get a visa to get approved until a week, not being able to get cornermen out there. This entire camp was like a struggle of I'm not good, but me looking in the mirror and saying sack up. And you know, man,
Sack up.
Right? Because we came here, fought his ass off, fucking broke my nose. Like, dude, fucking hell yeah, man. Like, hats off, dude. You felt like a fucking man. But you know, you guys,
You know?
I don't fight to put belts on the wall. I don't fucking fight because, you know, Eric wants to go do a fight.
Bro, he said, I don't fight to put belts on the wall, and he said he wanted to fight for a belt. Oh my days. Yep, that's the end of your coaching with him.
Fancy podcast.
If you don't want to do that.
Before fighting, you guys, I mean, I had like the lowest self-esteem, fucking couldn't even look at myself in the fucking mirror. Like, I didn't even know what like dignity
Man
was.
still got his pedo
fighting.
tash, just like me though.
And kind of through fighting, man, like I've learned like so much. I've met so many fucking amazing people.
Oh
through
yeah.
the UFC and fighting and fight fans, like, you guys have changed my fucking life. Changed my fucking life. Like, you've made me grow so much as a person in the ring and out of the ring, and that's why I fight. I fucking love it. I got a lot of fights left on my contract. I love fighting. I'm going back to the gym. I'm working my ass off, and I'm starting from fucking square one. And that's just kind of how life is, dude. Like, you'll always get a step back where you're like, all right, well, I got to start over again. And you have a choice. You either sack up and you do it, or you fucking quit. And I'm going to sack up and do it. And you know what? Fuck you guys. I broke my nose like fucking 3 times in that round. And every single time, I didn't quit. I didn't go sit on the stool and say, hey, my nose is broken. I can't fight. I adjusted every fucking time. And I thought, you know,
I
maybe I'll
adjusted
get lucky
it every
here.
time.
But at the end of the day, dude, we all have a fucking story, and no one gives a fuck. I'm grateful for my life. I love my job.